And welcome to episode number 44 of the rebranded, re-alive Galactic Gumbo here on the Angry Mike podcast show for now on. We're going to be on a Friday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, for every other Friday night. Most of the same crew will be here as before. We'll maybe bring in guests every now and then for shits and giggles and have some fun with it. So let's start off with our intros. Dakota. Shit! I said Dakota, he left.
Oh no.
Dalton, where people find you at?
You can find me everywhere at DaltinianSTFs with then. Wow.
Sport.
You can find me here on YouTube as Sportimus and on Twitter as SportimusPrime.
PrimalSabbath. Tell them where people can find you at.
You can find me everywhere at PrimalSabbath.
As soon as I said, let's introduce ourselves, I said, Dakota, bam, you went off. Like, what's shit? You left.
Yeah, I was trying to, yeah.
Stage right.
Yeah, I was thinking. So we're going to have a couple of different segments tonight. The first one is going to be with the guys who run Pete's Robot Convention. So let's just talk about that for a second. Pete, a lot of people know you from, of course, the Collectors Club with Transformers G.I. Joe. And when you left there, you decided to do your own thing. This is your third year doing the Robocon. Go ahead and tell us about Robocon. What's going on. It's next weekend. Stuff of that nature.
Yeah, sure. Well, Jessie and I both have known each other through. I'll give you the quick 1 minute history. Jessie and I have known each other through the Transformers Collectors Club and Botcon since I initially started working there part-time and then went full-time back in 2008. Jessie was one of the contractors, and just through the years, we ended up working together on a lot of projects. By the last 3 or 4 years, really, it was he and I that were kind of doing a lot of the day-to-day stuff as far as deciding on convention sets, working on stories for the comics, for either the club or a convention, different types of PR stuff, different types of marketing stuff. So he still worked with us. Like I said, he was kind of my primary go-to contractor at that point. When Botcon and the club came to an end, actually it was already ended, it was pretty much already ended when we got the idea to do a show, a robot convention. The name was derived from just kind of wanting to kind of give it a quiche kind of like, robot convention, just to be blunt, not to put TF in front of them or anything like that, or not whatever, not saying anything bad about shows that do that, but just to kind of be like, have kind of fun with it, just robot convention. And then we threw my name on there because of my association with Botcon and the fact that I had been associated with that branding for not just with Fun Pub, but going back to the very first show back in '94. So we held the first show in 2017, and then did our follow-up show last year, 2018. We've transitioned the show to actually what the URL name was pretty much, which the URL name always was, which was Robocon. So it's kind of went from Pete's Robot Convention to where we're kind of focusing more on the Pete's Robocon at this point. The show is really kind of based, anybody's familiar with Botcon, Transformers Collectors Club, all that stuff, was familiar with the big shows, with all the guests and the Stan Bush concerts and, the dozen plus exclusives and things like that. And while I still very much appreciate all the work that we did through the years on those and the over 200 different Transformer exclusives that we produced through the club and convention, this show is really about taking it back to kind of how Botcon originally was, how it was originally conceived. A show that's really primarily focused on the vendors, the artists, the fans, to where, they can come in, not have to, come in either through a very, inexpensive pre-registration package or as a walk-in for $10 and not really have to put out any money before they actually even get into the dealer room and just kind of enjoy being around thousands of Transformer toys. Of course, you have eBay, you have Amazon, you have all these different outlets, but nothing will ever be a substitute for actually going to a show, being able to peruse the different vendors, seeing all the product right there, and getting the chance to see it and choose from it and actually it's always going to be a different feel for it. And that's why conventions are still so very popular, toy conventions. And that's what we kind of want to be a focus on is focusing again on the toys and the artist and of course the fan interaction. The other element we've really added to it is we're really wanting to make it also a kid-friendly event. So we have activities for the kids. So it's there was weird feedback. It sounded like a robot.
Robot fart.
But yeah, we have the activities for kids. We have activities for adults. We've kind of had the first 2 years to kind of experiment with stuff. We went to a Sunday show for the second year because Ohio, there's kind of this weird dichotomy where Sunday shows do really well in certain parts of the state and not so much in other state and parts. We wanted to kind of test it here in Cincinnati. We decided after 2 years that Saturday it makes more sense. The show itself primarily takes place on Saturday as far as the vendor room being open, but fans who pre-register there's activities for them on Friday night. We've got a custom class. We've got a meet and greet where actually this year it'll be kind of a cool little exclusive. And actually I'll get to that in a minute. I've got the one sitting over here. And then there'll be, like I said, there's things to do Friday night for people that pre-register, kind of the people that just kind of want the 2-day experience. And then people that, again, we're taking it back to kind of how it originally was. The people that just want the 1-day show to kind of come in and do their shopping, hang out with some fellow fans, enjoy the weekend. But, obviously people are busy. There's a lot going on. And then kind of get back to their life, after, like I said, not having to devote a whole 3-4 days to it. So it's smaller, but it's more focused. And that's kind of what we want to be. But we also, of course, want to make it, accessible to everybody. So I think, like I said, there's a little bit of something for everybody.
Now don't get me wrong, man. I love the 3-4 day thing, like making an entire week out of it. Yeah. But like the trade-off here, and like you had kind of talked about how it was very much like an old 90s box. Anytime somebody asks me about, like what's it like, I'm like, if you ever read up about the 90s Botcons, like that's what it feels like. And it's a very awesome thing. And again, like, I mean, even at the later Botcons of like going in and seeing all the product, like it like that never, like that, you can't beat that. Like, just kind of browsing on eBay or on Facebook groups or whatever. But again, like going in there and seeing everything, especially when you're picking up vintage stuff and like it's not just like the last 2 years I've been able to pick things up that I cannot find online. And that's a really awesome thing, just considering the location and how much of like a hotbed for especially the kinds of products that I'm into are in that area. It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome.
We're also very targeted with the vendors we select. Like I said, the vendors for us are the stars of the show. I know that kind of sounds kind of goofy in a way, but on the same token, you can go to any toy show, and I'm not trying to knock anyone or anybody or what they do, but a lot of these times you'll see a lot of the same stuff. A lot of maybe it's just a lot of modern stuff. Mm-hmm. Our focus isn't just about, we're not wanting you to come to a show where you can see, if you're a collector, we're not wanting you to come to the show where you can find stuff, again, that you can buy on Amazon, that you can buy on eBay, current stuff. Where we want to make sure that this show is also, this is a legacy show. It's about not just Transformers as it is. This is about the 35 years that's already, taken place. So we've got vendors like Mega Toy Fan, who has, anything loose from G1. We've got I Am Ratchet, right? And he's got all kinds of AFA graded stuff from the 80s. Transformerland comes up from down south. They're coming all the way up here. They've got, of course,
everything.
Yeah. Of vintage Japanese.
I dig that because, it's like you said, there's no point in going to a convention where you see the stuff that you could buy at Target.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see the stuff from the 90s, the early 2000s, and the 80s. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, stuff from your childhood.
We want this, and of course, we have our own booth where I still am still have 2-3 skids worth of stuff from the old club convention. So I've got all kinds of production samples and prototypes, and still a ton of old club stock that I'll have actually there this probably be the last year that we really put a focus on that, because I'll get into that whole part of it later. But we're going to have we've just actually got up the final schedule up tonight with all the events. We'll really be making a push to make sure everybody's fully aware of that over the next week. Again, you can always register late if you don't want to miss out on what's going on Friday night, because there will be access to a lot of items and a lot of types of figures that probably still will be there Saturday morning. Not that there won't be still an amazing selection Saturday, but if you pre-register, we want to make sure you have that advantage of getting to first dibs on all of the goodies, which again was what Botcon. That's what they did. It was the fun pub era. They had the preview night for all the preview afternoon from 2 to 5 back in the day for all the pre-registrants, and that's something of this isn't about being. It's kind of like us taking in a way the best parts of a lot of different types of shows, and realizing we can't do everything all the other shows. We're not going to have the 30 guests, and the $50 autographs, $50 pictures. That's just not what we're about. We're about the vendors, the artists, the toys, the fans. That is the focus. You can go see any actor from Guardians of the Galaxy or Walking Dead or whatever at any other show, and that's great and that's awesome. That's not who we're trying to be. We're trying to be We're trying to be a show that is about what I keep repeating. So
I also want to point out, like,
fans and artists.
The like a lot of people, like, they'll talk about going to cons and, like, not necessarily finding things like cheaper than they would online because of table costs and so on and so forth. But I know the last 2 years for sure, I found stuff significantly, some stuff significantly cheaper, but some stuff like moderately cheaper. And again, like more or less on that same kind of thing of like just stuff you're not going to find. And it's all like all the vendors, at least the last 2 years, and a lot of them are returning this year, have like very reasonably priced things, despite like the fact that they had to pay to set up the booth and all that other stuff. It's awesome, man. It's really cool. Like, they're not having to jack their prices up to accommodate or compete with the organizer or anything like that, which I know like that was kind of an issue with vendors in Botcon. Was
that's we're never going to bring in 30 vendors. Even if we get to the point where we could, I don't want to do that. I don't want, because then it just alienates the people that we've already got that have supported us. We want to have 10 to 15 vendors each year, but that's it. We don't, because again, if you have 30, 40 vendors, well, they're all competing with each other at that point.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I mean, sorry, it's my son. He'll be at the show, but the focus is to just really kind of have each one of the vendors kind of their own, focus. And we've got a couple great local vendors like O'Smiley's.
Dude, she had a bunch of like carded Beast Wars stuff, super cheap.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! Like,
O'Smiley's will be there. More Harold from Now and Then. Harold, if anybody,
he's always got a bunch of stuff. The comic box guy.
He's one of the 7 of us that have been to every single Botcon. Harold's been around since the beginning of the fandom. So Harold will be there. We just got, like I said, we got AJ's Toy Chest. And a lot of these guys, these are the people that have been there for the first 2 shows. I think pretty much everybody, most of the vendors that will be back this year have been to all 3. So they're obviously, they enjoy, coming out to the show, and they do it well enough to where it's worth their time. So that's the key there. So
I just got done reading the list here. It's already up. The one thing I'm looking forward to the most is the face painting. I just want you to know that.
Dude, Mike loves that face painting.
He just wants to be Kano again.
No, it wasn't.
While
It was like flames with that was badass, man. I really like that.
It looks like Kano.
We got a new face painter for this year, and she'll also be doing balloon animals. The only change we made to the schedule is the caricature artist that we had the previous 2 years was booked for this year, so we decided to go with the balloon animals, which I think is kind of a neat mix-up, and the caricatures, or I'm sorry, the balloon animals and the face painting, and that's free for any kids that are tied to a pre-registrant. But I'm sure we can make an exception and get you a balloon animal, Mike.
Dalton, you want to get you a balloon animal?
I'm
Get you a
good.
balloon animal, bud?
He wants to be a bunny. Yeah.
Hashtag Balloon Beast Wars.
But we do have, but on the same token, Robbie Musso will be at the show. Anybody familiar with Robbie knows what what an
He'll
amazing
probably open up commissions if you need a caricature done. He can probably do it.
and Archie Cunningham will be there. So we've got a couple great artists that'll be there. And like I said, we've got some other new events for kids. We're gonna the last couple of years we had done a paid for a thing where it was called Recycled Robots. It was like $20 and you could come in and make your own recycled robot. This year, from 10 to 2, we're actually going to have an area set up where kids can customize their own Transformers, and it's just free. It's just something they can come in and do. So they'll have the face
That's awesome.
painting. They'll have the balloon animals. We've got some other games we've got planned. We've got the robot bingo for the kids, which I think we sometimes let adults sneak into that too. And then we've got
teaching them how to gamble early.
Mom and dad have to play around when the kids,
So
playing with the toys.
It's all a balancing act. We don't want to go. We want the focus to be on the robots, the toys, the fans for sale, but we do want to make sure there's activity. So if mom and dad are bringing their kid, they're not saying, "Oh, robot show," and they bring their kid, and all there is a dealer room, right? And all there is some panels, and there's exclusives, but that's great. I mean, like saying that's kind of that's some other shows, but we want to actually have things for kids to do for an hour or two too. So if dad's into it, it's gonna be Father's Day weekend, right? If dad's into it, do the shopping. If your kids are into it too, there's gonna be 3 or 4 hours worth of activities that they can do too. So it's like I said, it's a family event, it's a collector event. It definitely caters to both those audiences.
Here's what I got for you here. I'm looking here, and everything that's on Friday night, that is for the people who are pre-registered, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But one thing I find very interesting, is that you're going to be doing Let's Make a Deal with Club Stock and Prototype from 9 to 10. For 1 hour, you're going to be doing Let's Make a Deal. So we're doing like the old Let's Make a Deal the club used to do, right?
Yeah, that's more kind of the damaged stuff. Like even production samples, prototypes, we had so much of that stuff.
Right.
Some of the damaged ones, missing pieces, other stuff that we're going to throw in there. That also is going to be the hour that begins, and we need to kind of update that a little bit more to make it a little more clear. That people can also go room to room. Mega Toy Fan will be selling room to room. We'll have other people that will be wanting to do. So it's kind of the whole. A lot of people do room to room trading. That's really kind of the starting time for anybody that wants to go and trade, sell, and like I said, even for Let's Make a Deal. If someone comes in and wants to trade for something, I'm not opposed to that. I mean, I'm the one that's all this stuff. So hey, if you want to come in and trade something for a 2009 Flak missing a head, sure, why not?
Word on the street is Mega Toy Fan's gonna have a super limited room exclusive.
Yeah.
How did that work out, Dakota?
That worked out not as well, I think, as I wanted it to, but it still worked out. So anyone who likes that sort of
by
thing.
the skin of your teeth, huh?
Very much by the skin of my teeth.
So Jesse, tell us some other stuff. I mean, we know Pete's talked pretty much about the kids. On Friday night, we're having this was a late entry, a dinner. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
A meet and greet dinner. So
yeah, we're going to meet up in the lobby, and then we're all going to head over. It's a 15-minute walk.
I'm out. No, I'm kidding. You mean a 2-minute drive?
Real quick, Covington and Cincinnati. So the event is in Covington. They call it the Cincinnati Marriott at River Center because literally Covington and Newport in Kentucky are both right on the river, right? And they're right both across from Cincinnati. So the Marriott where we're at is right on the city. The bridge that we walk across, which is also a pedestrian bridge, is right next to the hotel. And the place where we're going, Taste of Belgium, is right on the other side of the bridge. So you're literally walking across the bridge. And it's a historic bridge too. It's the oh my God, it's a historic bridge. I'm blanking on the name. Brent's Bridge, which was featured in Rain Man. It's the bridge that Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman were driving across. It's a very old. It's actually the Brent's Bridge. Very, very quick history lesson was designed by the same guy that did the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. So it's the
okay.
Yeah. So it's a
also. I was gonna say I wanted to point out, like the last 2 years that I've gone, there's like a balcony in the hotel, the restaurant there. Like you can like see over the river and look at Cincinnati from across, and it's always been like so awesome at night, especially if there's a baseball game and they happen to win.
The hotel is literally on. I mean,
that was perfectly planned last year.
Great fireworks show, Pete.
Oh, there was a firework. Yeah, the Reds. I don't know. If they're playing,
it was awesome. It was like 45 minutes straight. Like it was like I said, it was awesome. Like that's usually like after everything settles down for the evening. Like that's typically where I'm at, is on the balcony.
As far as the exclusive that you're handing or doing at the dinner, talk about that exclusive. And is there anything extra y'all are going to have at the show that you all have not come out and announced, or you want to announce, or tell us about, or whatever, or move from the screen and we can see if it's behind you by some chance?
No, again, Botcon is something that I've been a part of since the beginning. In different ways, I was at every show. Botcon '97 was pretty cool. They had the exclusives. '97 would have been what? Fractal and Pack Rat. But they did something at the dinner, which Botcon in '97 still wasn't even an official show, though they were able to get official exclusives. We are still looking at exclusive items, obviously probably not through Transformers or Hasbro or anything like that, but we're still looking at actual licensed exclusives. We still have stuff that we're working on. In the meantime, one of the things that 3H, Glenn, Carl, and John did for fans back in '97 when they did the dinner. Now, ours is not a sit-down formal dinner. Ours is more of a meet and greet, apps, appetizers, and stuff like a much more informal thing. But one of the things they did for everybody that year was really cool, was they produced this little Botcon '97 dinner exclusive. You'd be hard pressed to ever find these online for sale. And then what they did was they had an artist, I don't know who it is, that's signed on the bottom, even dated, but I have no idea who did. And they gave everybody a little decoy. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world at the time. It was just such a nice little gesture, I felt. Of course, this is Ricochet. I did not get Ricochet. I got someone else, and the guy in the elevator, I ran into someone, and he had it, and I traded with him. I think I don't know if I had to pay him $50, but I don't know what I paid him something. It might have been just $20. I don't know, but I gave him some cash, and we traded. And I got him, and I've held on to this guy. He sits on my desk over here. He's been here on my desk forever. And then what's funny, Jesse. I think Jesse was just messing around and was being kind of a cool guy, and took one of those Japanese ones and did a little. He'll do little goofy things like that for me every once in a while.
I actually bought him at the last Robocon from the Allspark.
Yeah,
I was just sitting there. We had all the custom class paint, and I painted it up.
Yeah,
I painted that up for him at his kitchen table. He's like, "We should do that next year."
Yeah. So basically, what we did was we took the Super 7, the Super 7 exclusive, or the Super 7 cachie that they do. I think there's 6 Autobots, 6 Decepticons, and we ordered them. Jesse painted all of them up. Of course, these are the cachie. I don't have. You actually don't have one there in front of you, Jesse, do you?
I don't, unfortunately.
But there's pictures of it online. We've got like 3 or 4 of them, but they're about the same size as the old. They're about the same size as the old decoys, correct?
Yeah.
So, and they'll come. We have a little plastic stand for them with our logo on it, and everybody who is at the meet and greet will get one of those. And then we also have one that will be part of the grand prize drawing. That's kind of a little different, a little more special. But that was just something we kind of wanted to do to kind of like give you. Like I said, it's not anything licensed. It's not anything official. It's a custom. It's free with your package. So but it's something I think people I hope get a kick out of. This is actually one of the things I really appreciate the most from all the Botcons. It just was such a neat little thing. I thought, the decoys were always solid color, and then to see one painted up, especially like a Stepper, who was like one of the characters I actually kind of thought was always really cool because it was one of the ones that were out of reach for us. Back when we were kids, we didn't find out about it until we were in our 20s or late teens anyways, if you were old like me, and like, what are all these Transformers from Japan? I never even heard of Stepper, Artfire, or Sound Blaster. What?
Real quick, just to kind of like give a shameless plug to whoever's doing it, but we keep talking about like the old Botcons and stuff like that, and like there's the wiki you can read but there's a YouTube channel called Botcon Convention Archives that's been putting up a lot of videos from
that's
like
John
90.
That's
Okay, it is John.
It's John. Yeah, the co-founder of Botcon.
Okay, cool. Yeah, like I know like there was some suspect that it was John, but like like I said, I didn't know. I didn't really like.
Sorry.
Well, well, I mean, like regardless, but like that's something like a lot of people like. Man, I have spent so many like hours and just like countless amounts of data because I don't have Wi-Fi at work. Just watching those old videos, like he's got from like 94, 95, I think all the way to 99 so far uploading. He's still like uploading like individual videos from like 97, I think. But it's really cool. It's really cool to like see all that and like because you're explaining it, and anyone who wants a visual can go check that out. And like I recommend whoever does like check it out. It's because it's awesome to see.
In a weird way, that I mean, there were 22 Botcons, and obviously the ones where I was actually an employee and worked for them, those were all very special and actually getting to work on toys and come up with concepts and stuff like that. But strictly from a fan standpoint, and when you of course you never realize it at the time, you never think about it at the time. But if you want to just look up straight up nostalgia and kind of like when things were like in the most pure state as a fan, this is before the internet, before any or internet was barely, it was a fledgling at that point. But 94, 95, and 96 were just something that were just kind of those first 3 years just kind of really hold a really special place. That was 96 was the year where they had the auction for the production samples, the G2 prototypes and production samples, which would never happen now. 95 was Rock Show, which was still a great show because that's when it went to a 2-day show. 94, of course, was the first show, and that had Breakdown is the exclusive. I remember the lady, I always tell this story, the lady came in selling just some packaged G1 stuff, and just I was a dealer at that show, and just selling loose toys, and she asked if I wanted any of them, and I said sure, and she brought them in, and I think I don't know which 3 I picked up. Might have been I couldn't tell you. Might have been Sunstreaker, Hound, someone else, but it was 3 for $50 mint and sealed box. Wow. 1980s toys. Buddy of mine picked up 2 of the Ramjet and or Dirge and Thrust for $20 each. Now, granted, this is the price they pretty much were everywhere, so it's not that big a deal. But the fact that you can think back to a time where you were actually at a show, and someone comes in and you get 3 for 50 mint and sealed box G1 cars. It was just like I said, that was also the time where the Japanese stuff was still selling for relatively dirt cheap. You could get a lot of those for 75, 50. You weren't really paying more than $100 for anything vintage Japanese, other than like the bigger pieces. But still, it was just kind of a different time. So that's what we want to be. We want to kind of be that. I hope 20 years from now, maybe someone will look back and go, as a kid, and they're Robocon. I don't know. It's a different world now, but that would be kind of neat. So.
Speaking of, I finally got one of these not too long ago. Yeah. It's not the one with the sticker on it, unfortunately.
Dakota said he's opening it up at your show.
I am open. Well, he's of course he gets up and leaves, but
he's like,
yeah.
We both have the same shirt on. I'm holding the breakdown. Now this was
what?
Funny. I said we both got the shirt.
Oh yeah.
Now this was funny. So I think everybody knows this. At the show, since they sent this to Hasbro, right? Or since these were sent to, from Hasbro to John and Carl Hartman, the very short story on that is they sent all 8 to John and Carl and said, okay, you can pick one of these. They'll be your exclusive. We're not producing these, but pick one. They'll be your exclusive. Of course, they ended up picking up Breakdown. But Hasbro being Hasbro, they had to put a sticker on the back that said, not others not available for sale, whatever. It's something like that. Not available, no other quantities for sale, or no other.
Right, and it covered the other Stunticons. I don't know.
I don't care that I ripped it. Who cares? I mean, there's the rip right there. But I, of course, promptly took the sticker off to see what the other ones were, because there was no internet. We had no idea what the other 4 looked like. The only way to know what the other 4 looked like was to peel the sticker off and look. And that was the first time you actually ever saw what the other 4 were. Now, of course, there's been ones that have been sold and they're all over the place now. Well, not all over the place, but so that
They're
was
kind of all over the place. Yeah.
yeah. But I remember that was neat seeing that, and I take that back. It was, yeah, no, actually, well, I hadn't seen John and Carl's yet, so I guess I hadn't seen theirs. I hadn't seen because they had all 8, but I hadn't seen theirs yet, and I wanted to see the other 4. So there you
Pete, you gonna open yours with me at your show?
go. No.
No,
No, I'll let you play with mine. How about that?
Are you really opening it up?
I'm really gonna open it up.
Oh, that's cool.
That's gonna be awesome.
So, is there anything else y'all want to share about the show before we?
Yeah,
go
we've
on
been
out?
talking a lot about nostalgia and Transformers and all of this, but Cincinnati is where Kenner used to be, and it's a big toy town. And you go anywhere, any of those flea markets, and you can still find former Kenner employees selling this or that prototype or whatever. But for this year, I really wanted to focus in on what the future of toys is, especially for collectors' toys. So, of course, there's been all of those Kickstarters and different crowdfunded companies like that. So I was reaching out. I called it a toy makers panel. I'm sure you've seen it on the schedule. And I just wanted them to send me pictures of upcoming product and a description that I could read off and let people know. It's sort of like what another Transformers convention does with some, unofficial product. So yeah, we've got Spiro. We might have Eagle Force. We have Action Force from Valaverse. He's
Nice.
Nice.
And Boss Fight. So Boss Fight was really cool. They're going to send pictures. They haven't decided what they're going to send in for pictures, but there's a box going to Pete's house right now, full of upcoming toys that we get to set up and show everybody.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I'm really excited about seeing this box when I finally get out there to Pete's and see what they sent us.
Yeah.
And then while I was doing that, I reached out to another guy who does the Galios system. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the little 3-inch. They're like either robots or aliens.
I've heard of it.
And you can pop off the ball joints and they're all interchangeable. Well,
So, like a robot Modulok?
pretty much, yeah. So I found this guy who does Masters of the Universe style barbarian type guys. It's Warlords of War, and he's coming out, but he knows all of the other Galios guys. So there's also a guy who does over in New Jersey who does the RoboForce, the actual 80s RoboForce. He got the license for it, and he's making the little Galios robots. He's going to send a product out for the Warlords of War guy to put on out for sale. So that's another thing I'm really excited about. So it's not Transformers and it's not vintage, but I think this is going to be pretty cool.
Cool.
Just to play off that for just a quick second, Jesse mentioned Spiro. Robocon is just one part of our company. Jesse's and I's company, or Jesse and my company. Night Shining Inc. or Watches Night Shining LLC. We rebranded a little bit.
I do it all the time. It's okay.
Yeah. So we just changed it. We just changed it. That's some legalese we just changed. But we are still looking for that exactly what we can do on the robot aspect of it. But we aren't just the robots. We are working with Phase 6 on Red Man, which is a kaiju based property. We're working with Spiro on Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, which is kind of a fantasy related property. We've got a couple exclusives coming up for them. We've been putting out we are the publisher for the Red Man. Hold on. Sorry, I'm plugging other stuff, but you'll have to you'll understand why in a second. For the Red Man items, these are things that we actually are producing and putting out over here. So this is stuff that we do. We are looking for some robot stuff because we want to do robot things, but we also, again, we're not just focused on any one single thing. The other thing, I think what we want to do really is put that focus on. This is where I'm not talking about us, on some of the other smaller independent IP holders. We're talking about people that are actually producing their own IP. It's something we kind of are looking into. We've got some ideas that we're working on. We like working with some of the other smaller brands. It's kind of giving a showcase to them. So, we're always going to be a smaller show. What exactly that means? Does it mean a show with 1,000 people, 2,000 people, 5,000 people? I don't know. But it will still always very much. It's never going to be a show about guests and all this other stuff. It's going to be a show about toys. It's going to be a show about independent creators. It's going to be a show about independent artists. It's going to be a show about fans. It's going to be a show about some stuff that we're producing. It's going to be shows about other people are producing. But again, it's not going to be a big corporate event. That's not where we're ever going to be. So as Jesse was saying, we want to have these smaller startups, and maybe they'll become big and then they won't need us anymore. That's fine. But we would definitely like to partner with some of these people and bring them in and make this more, like I said, an event. This isn't just this isn't Botcon, minor, right? We're not just trying to be about Transformers. Of course, we talk about Power Rangers and Gundam and Exo Squad and Macross and all these other robot properties. We want to be. We would love to get more into that as well. Of course, there's always going to be the fact that we're going to be more Transformers heavy because that is the dominant properity. But we definitely like to have some more Transformers stuff, other robot stuff in there, and other kind of like robot properties. An exclusive we may end up doing might be one of these other smaller ones, or it might be something we produce. But we want to be something different. Again, we're not looking to copy someone else, and we're not looking to definitely be a Comic-Con. We want to be Robocon, and we want people to go like, oh, you know what? I need to go to that show. So there you go.
Cool.
Another quick question I have, so the schedule is now posted, like the full schedule?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, cool. I didn't.
That's how I knew some of the things I asked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they just put it up.
Okay.
So, well, guys, I do appreciate y'all making time to come on. I know, Pete, tomorrow night you'll be on Cybercast with us for a little bit as well. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It'll either be Jesse or I. One of the two of us will be there.
Jesse said it was you. He has family.
Yeah, so.
Jesse's done and grown up on us now. I don't get it. He was telling me about the kids this and the kids this,
Jesse's had 3 children in the last year. It's kind of an amazing story.
I know. I told him he's been watching me take care of Dakota all this time, so he's finally started to catch on to everything.
But this is Transformers Prime all evening. I've been hearing Transformers Prime music upstairs.
Dude, so real quick, I just got all the Blu-rays for Transformers Prime. I had all the DVDs, but I can't stand that grainy quality. So that's all I've been binging is Blu-ray Transformers Prime.
It's a great series. Yeah,
it is.
Well, the last thing I'll say is that if you're within 100 miles of the Cincinnati area and you just want a show to come out for the day, at this point, you don't really want to do the pre-registering. If you want to pre-register, you can still pre-register. That's fine. There's plenty of hotels in the area. But if you want to just come out for a show, it's $10 to get in. Kids 12 and under are free. Check the website for all the details on that. But it's just going to be a fun show. It's an easy show. It's easy to get in. There's toys. There's activities. There's Mike and Dakota and Dalton. So it'll be all kinds of fun things to do.
It's so funny how you said Dalton a third,
there was a pause there. Yeah.
I think
I'm thinking of our registration list. I'm like, okay, I know my guy. So I know you.
Also, there's going to be a pretty sweet display this year too. If I had to wager.
We have, I guess that's the last thing I'll say is the previous 2 years we've had some display of production samples, prototypes, cool artwork, stuff that's never been seen before. We're going to have some of that stuff again. If I have time, I'll try to get into my stuff. I did pick up a really cool thing. I don't think I'm going to display it this year. An old Pepsi thing, but there will be, you want to see it? I'll show you.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Totally.
Hurry up, show it to us. Hurry up.
Do it.
Okay, keep looking.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on.
This has never been seen before, or it was when the guy sold it. I never even knew about this. It's a 1980s Pepsi display.
Huh.
It was sitting in a warehouse for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
And I've talked to some other people who've never seen it before. So sometimes stuff like that just shows up.
That's
Nice.
crazy.
I had to pay a lot more than
It looks like really good condition too.
Yeah.
For 30 years. Yeah.
It was, but I'd never seen this artwork before either. So this was
That's awesome.
This was quite the piece. I just totally stumbled upon it on one of those Transformer groups on Facebook. There were a lot of people interested in it, but I was, I don't buy much anymore.
Same thing. Nothing. Okay.
So I don't know.
All right, well, that's great, man. I know me and Dakota are looking.
I'm not trying to like toot my own horn. I'm just saying that I wasn't doing that. There's just no way. You got the exclusive for that. You get to see it. There was just no way for me to. I think for next year. Oh, the last thing I'll say. So this really wraps up the first 3 years of our show. We're going to take everything from these first 3 years that have worked well and that we think we want to build upon, and that's where we'll go for the future. So we'll talk about all that at the panel on Saturday. But I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there, you and everyone else.
Yeah, there.
Cool.
We got to point the different directions.
You're right.
Yeah. So yeah, I know me and Dakota are looking forward to just the road trip alone because we'll stop and eat everywhere. So we're looking forward to that. But we're gonna have a good time, and I'm glad to be able to make it up there.
You got the Roses, White Castle, Gold Star Skyline, Frisch's, Raiders ice cream,
Golden Corral. Yeah.
The Corral.
I get whatever the airline gives me. So
I know we're gonna hit the White Castle. That's for damn sure. So. All right, guys. I appreciate both of y'all coming on, and I will message you tomorrow, Pete, on Facebook, and send you the link for Google Hangouts tomorrow.
All right, sounds good.
All right, guys. Thanks for jumping on. I appreciate it.
See you later, guys.
Sure.
see you guys.
Yes. See ya.
There we go. Now we're going to bring in our next guest. What's going on, man?
What? Hello? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we jumped in on there real quick on you. You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Doing good. How are y'all?
Doing pretty good, man.
Good.
I know I wanted to get you on a show that wasn't Joe related since you did the last Joe show with me.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about your last book that you did through Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And now you're doing this other one, which is a very, very interesting story that I've read up on so far, and I'm looking forward to it. It's called Gunship Thunder Punch. And
I'm sold. Like, you can stop right now. I'm yeah.
Well, let's tell you what,
awesome.
you and 352 other backers have already sold. This man funded this book in 9 hours of only needing $8,500, and he's less than $500 away from 20 grand.
Yep.
Jeez. That's so like the title I think like let's be honest, knowing nothing about it, the title has me like, okay, so what's the contents?
So the story is about it's set in the future when Mars and Earth are at war, and Martians kidnap a young mother's son, and she takes it upon herself to get him back, so she has to steal an outdated gunship. And the only one who knows where it is and how to activate it is a criminal with a life sentence who commanded the ship like 30 years before. What she doesn't realize is the ship is sentient and is not happy about being abandoned for the last 3 decades. So that's kind of the premise.
Wow.
And lots of fun adventure, robot ships, Martians, and all that stuff.
I was gonna say, dude, you just took all like 90% of my favorite like sci-fi topics. Like
Right.
like throw in a few space cowboys and and then how do I fill out my application of new best friend?
Right. Yeah. Well,
Like-
it's I'm trying to include all the things I loved as a kid. I was
Yeah.
huge
Wow.
Transformers guy growing up, and GI Joe, and watched all the robot stuff, space cartoons and things. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna do my own book and just see if I can put my own put my own spin on it and draw what I want to draw. So
Mhm.
So
we go.
this is all gonna be like in a very graphic format, like like okay,
it's,
cool, similar to
it's
like
gonna
comic.
be at
style.
least. It's a comic. It's a graphic novel. It's going to be at least on the thing it says at least 64 pages. It's probably going to be closer to 96.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's great.
So it's
That's
going to be a
amazing.
big story. And
That's
especially as
actually-
well as it's being funded, it's going to let me focus on that and get it done, get it shipped, get it done, and then
And here's the cool thing is that I am going to back it. The only reason I have not yet is because is it Indiegogo?
yeah, it's Indiegogo.
I'll make sure I was pronouncing it right. That there when you sign up for for the fund something, they usually draft your payment right then and there.
Yeah, that is the difference with Kickstarter. They do it immediately. And in the past, this is the first time I've used them. Kickstarter, the reason I switched over is because after the campaign ends, while I'm finishing up the book, you can switch it to basically, it's called in demand, which it becomes a store. So people can, like, a lot of the different perks, like the original art and things, that's gone, but you can still order the book. And what I found with my Kickstarter last year, a lot of people were like, "Oh, I missed it. And I was like, well, I promoted it for a month, but it lets people that might have missed it, slip through the cracks, still come in for a little while after until it's ready to ship, and then you close it. So I don't know why Kickstarter doesn't do that, but
And
Okay.
and you've been adding to the different tiers, I believe. The one thing which was at $15,000, which was a variant cover that'll actually be done by a Transformer artist, Alex Milton.
Oh,
Milne, yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he's so good. Like,
Yeah, Alex is a good friend of mine, and we were I told him kind of I was having a book coming. He kept saying, "Hey, I want to do something for it. So he's going to do the variant cover. So he's excited about it.
Awesome.
And
yeah, that's amazing.
And there's a lot of different things. There's what was that? The one I was looking at that I was thinking about getting when it gets down to the last couple of days when I have the money. That was man, where is it at? It had like a print A, print B. There was a cover, the variant cover, and a drawing. I think I think this is right here.
Yeah. There was the early bird special, which comes with all the prints, but that one has metal prints of both covers, so it's gonna have a 6x9 metal print.
Oh, sweet.
Wow.
And there's several other there's a couple other ones that are prints and things. So I'm slowly adding a few more options here and there. A limited number of original pages from the book. I originally intended to do the whole thing digital, just because it'll be much faster getting the project done and in people's hands. I know I'm going to at least do 25 original pages. I don't know if I may end up doing all of them original if people, there's some interest, but there's a select few I'll be doing with art to get to people. So there's different things for different tiers.
That's something I like as someone who does like comic books and graphic novels and things like that. Like the opportunity to be able to own an original, page, is really, really cool. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the trade-off. I mean, a lot of readers, they want that. I mean, I like traditional art myself. I like being able to look at something and hold it. But the trade-off is just time. It's with digital, it's just like, I can get through a lot more pages, but it's not all about that. I mean, I want to get people things that they're excited about. So
I think you're seeing the screen share. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So this is here on Indiegogo. What got me was just strictly the story, the whole story idea, and then of course the transforming ship. I'm like, that's pretty awesome. It's amazing what we're seeing on Indigo and Kickstarter as far as artists doing stuff as of late. Another thing,
all the original content.
Yeah.
Right. And another stretch goal you have here, which will be at 20,000, is trading cards. So how many cards are there? Just a couple? Or
it'll be 2 or 3, probably 3, with different characters from the book, and I'm going to make sure each book comes with them. So looks like we should hit that pretty soon. We're only less than $450 away, I think. So
yeah, you're at $19,563.
Yeah.
Now when you think about it, and you put this up here, and then it went crazy on how fast it got funded. How did you feel when it funded so quickly?
Well, I mean, I was really surprised. I mean, I've spent a lot of time, on YouTube and social media, and for the last, forever, but especially in the last year, just I do, regular YouTube live streams and upload videos, and
right.
I've connected, I think, with the audience a little more. And I was talking to some other guys that launched, especially this week, and it was kind of the same for them. If you've connected with it, with an audience, and people like you and enjoy what you do when you launch a book, typically they'll come in right at the beginning, and that seems to be what happened. So now, you get that first burst that first week, and then it kind of levels off. So now I'm just, you're pushing it and trying to get new people that haven't discovered it yet, and that's where the work is promotion wise.
Right, and you got 19 days left.
Yeah.
So this what's a realistic goal that you think it might actually end at?
I would guess probably, because you usually get a bump at the end between 25,000 30 probably. It's tough to tell, but I would imagine, given this is I haven't even finished the second week yet, so it's probably on course for 25 or 30.
It's amazing how
That's crazy. Yeah.
it really is.
So-
And I remember. Go ahead, Dakota.
I was gonna say, I think it's safe to say, like, all of us here are also like action figure guys too.
Mhm.
Is that something, especially if this takes off like popularity wise, is that something you would look into?
I'm already looking into it, and without giving too much away, I'm talking to some people, and actually they've kind of come to me and said, "Hey, can maybe we see this is possible?" And I'm like, maybe. So I would love to see a figure. I will just see how it goes.
Well, I mean, even not just of the robot, right? Because like there's some of us that also like like action figures, just regular. So like, because like that's me, because like I'm looking at this artwork, I'm like, man, like if I leave this, if I read this and I fall in love with it, like I'm gonna want some action figures to put on a shelf. You know what I mean? And I'm loving these designs so far. I think it's awesome. I love the premise. So like, I'm hoping that's something that is definitely a possibility. I'm glad that it's, something you're definitely looking into. So that's really cool. That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely. And again, it's new territory for me. I mean, I know how to make a book. I know how to get the book out there. Toys and figures, those are things I'm still having to research. And I don't know if it would be something that would be, connected like a tier on this campaign, or if like, or I would do another campaign and say, hey, if you enjoyed the book, here comes the figure, and then just crowdfund that separately or what. But just seeing what the options are.
That's awesome. Like, cause I mean, man, like I would, like seeing this now, as soon as we go off air, like I'm in. So yeah, for sure. Like cause this is my first seeing it.
That's the first time I'm talking about it. I think I'm sold.
Yes.
And like I said, I love that story premise too. And so like that, again, that would be really cool. I would definitely love to see, some product for it. So that's cool. Like, so making a whole new property, like this is your own original IP. Like, how has that been for you?
Well, I worked for, I've worked with IDW on G.I. Joe and Transformers, mostly doing inks, some pencils here and there, for 10 years or so. And I kept trying to get them to give me some penciling work, so like on Transformers and stuff, and it never worked out. And I was finally, especially with crowdfunding really kind of coming into its own, I was like, I got a story. I'm just going to tell my own big robot story. And so I can go in and create the world, and just for me, it's just really fun coming up with the scenes and scenarios and the characters and where they have to go, and but also giving it kind of that relatable human element. A mother has got to go save her son. Oh, and there's a giant robot. but the robot kind of has
just nonchalant,
right? But the robot, I'm trying to make the robot relatable too, because it's alive, and it's been shelved in a junkyard for 30 years, so not too happy.
That's what I was just fixing to ask you. Since he's been there for so long, what kind of attitude is this guy got? I mean, is he like, leave me alone, or like
it's more with in the pitch I have him, it says he might have trust issues because he was abandoned there, but he's maturity wise probably late teens, 20 or something in a human, but has been sitting there stuck in vehicle mode for a long time. And so I'm trying to put together this robot that's not old and grizzled, but is doesn't really want to trust people at the same time, but still has on the couple pages he runs into some Martian robots where they're actually mechs, and the pilots have been long dead, and so the mechs are just carrying out their last orders, and the Thunder Punch thinks they're zombies, because to him they are zombies, and so he kind of freaks. So it's just that kind of fun, somewhat adolescent kind of feel to his personality.
It's a very interesting story. I mean, because this is slated for February.
I'm trying to get it done way before then. That's kind of my fail-safe. Ideally, I'd like to launch another book by then. So
oh wow,
I'm going to be cranking out to get this thing completely done by the fall, get it printed, get everything out, and start on the next thing. Because this is, I'm kind of viewing it as moving more towards if Indiegogo and crowdfunding keeps up like this. I mean, I could do a couple books a year and be fine.
Right.
Now,
so this is safe to say like this book may possibly even end on a cliffhanger because of the the possibility to do more.
I'm not leaving it on like a tight cliffhanger, like, oh no, what happens? But it'll be like, oh, there might be something else.
It's open.
It'll be like an open ending or something like that.
Like there could go other places. So if it
that'd be cool. Yeah.
Seems. I mean, right now, I mean, obviously, if I get it out there and people are like, oh, it is really good. Okay, then maybe we'll do another one. So
I'm sure it's going to be good. It sounds like a great premise.
Yeah.
Well, the artwork looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to take a closer look.
Are you currently doing anything now with IDW still, or are you no longer doing work for them?
The last thing I did for them was probably 2 months ago. I inked issue 250. No, I can't remember the issue number. It's one where Shannon Gallant comes back for a Snake Eyes story. But yeah, that one just came out, I think, this week or next week, and I haven't heard from them. IDW work, they've shifted things around art wise. I know they rebooted Transformers, and they wanted to get some fresh artists in, and G.I. Joe kind of the same thing. And so we had we got spoiled. I was we had regular work every month for a very long time, and that typically does not happen in comics anymore. So with kind of things getting fewer and far between and stuff, is like, now's probably a good time to maybe shift gears and do my own properties, which is ultimately what I always wanted to do anyway. Right. So
I hear that a lot. Like it seems, especially like from other folks that work on like someone else's license, like Bobby with the Voloverse. Mm-hmm. He worked with Hasbro. Now he's able to, he's going out there and doing his own thing. And you've got this book you'd worked on, like you said, the other like Hasbro media properties, and now you're kind of able to do your own thing. And I love it, man. Like I think that's awesome. The people that create our content, like at the end of the day, it's still like the stories that we would enjoy. It's just with new characters we may not know that we will enjoy. And I think this is a pretty cool thing. I think this is awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a refresher.
It's totally a good time to be an independent artist, really. I mean, you can connect directly with people. They can get to know you, and you can make a book now for way cheaper than you could in 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
So it's good. No complaints.
And that's another thing too. It's like there hasn't been any real new properties for like 20 years. Mm-hmm. Everything's a rehash. So it's like this like I feel like this feels like very 90s to me. And like I grew up in the 90s. I was a kid in the 90s, so like that's where I'm just like, yes. All the nostalgias.
That's the thing. It's I think you see it in Hollywood and with comics, is they're trying to play it safe, maybe thinking, well, this is sold in the past, we just need to figure out how to resell it, and they don't really want to take a chance on, let's make a brand new character that people will love. I don't know, I don't have any insight into why editors and comic companies wouldn't try to make new characters, but
it's too big of a risk, I think.
Yeah.
These days, I mean, I can see why they would think that, but like as people who consume media like ourselves, like it's time for some new stuff to be out there. It's
well, that's the benefit, I think, of the independent artists talking directly with fans and readers, and we can tell that people are ready, but I don't know that someone in a corporate office who isn't streaming and has a chat and is talking to the chat and stuff and on a daily basis can really, they're kind of removed a bit, right? They're looking at sales figures, they're looking at diamond, they're looking at this and that, and so it's just a different animal, I guess. But I don't know. But we're making new stuff. There's people out there doing it.
That's good. Yeah, I definitely dig that.
Excuse me. But well, man, I do appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy man, and I wanted to get you on in order to help you push it, but dude, it pushed itself so fast before I even got to you. I'm like, well, hell, he might not even want to come on. He's already funded.
Oh no!
I'm just watching that I have another huge.
Well, definitely, everyone, if you want to check him out, where can people find you at, man? Besides, I guess Twitter.
Well, on Twitter, it's Brian_Shearer. And if you're interested in Gunship Thunder Punch, just go to gunshipthunderpunch.com and it takes you straight to the Indiegogo. And between those two places, you can find me. And I'm also on YouTube. I typically do a live stream or upload a video every day talking about comics and art and things. So it's just Brian Shearer, youtube.com/Brian Shearer on there. So any of those places you can come and hang out with me for a while.
Awesome.
Right. And do you still have some of your other books that from the Kickstarter project available for sale?
Yeah, I've got the art book from last year. I still have copies of, and actually, there is a tier on here where you can get that book alongside this one, and my book William the Last, the very first thing I ever crowdfunded, is actually being published monthly through Antarctic Press right now. So I'm still doing that. And I'm trying to boil my life down to basically William the Last and Gunship Thunder Punch. So
great,
cool,
man.
Nice.
We know it's funded. I know. I'm pretty sure all of us here are going to get it. I know. Like I said, I'm waiting till the very I hate to say it, but I'm waiting till the very end. So since they're going to charge me for it. I mean, but I'm glad. You're happy with the Indiegogo project and what they do for you over there. And we appreciate you taking the time, and I do get a chance every now and then. I do watch your videos in the mornings.
Oh, cool.
Your cover Jess, I do appreciate those as well as a fan. So thank you for coming in, and we will talk to you later. And maybe we'll get you back on again for the next project, or even the action figure. It'd be great.
Sure.
if you did that.
Definitely. I hope that works out, because I'm excited to see it. So.
When you do, let me buy the prototype. One of the test shots.
He's about prototypes. He's got to have prototypes.
Okay.
Yeah, I love test shots. Like I have an addiction. So
okay.
That's one way of putting it.
All right, Brian. Well,
Awesome.
thank you
All
very
right.
much for coming on and talking about your book and everything. And we know it's already funded, but we look forward to getting the product in our hands later on this year, hopefully.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Enjoyed it, guys.
Pleasure meeting you.
All
Have
right.
a
yeah,
good
man,
evening.
it was awesome. Have a good one.
You too.
That was
All
dope.
right.
Yeah,
That's Mike. How come you were holding that so close to chest? Like, you could have just told me about it,
Yeah.
and I would have been like.
He is a
on it.
cool dude. I had him on just in our G.I. Joe show when he did his last book, and I got that book. I think it's over in my case, but he's a real good guy. Matter of fact, if you bought that book and you did the certain, I think it was every book, or maybe it was just, I think it was every book. He drew a picture in the back of it. You just sent him what you wanted in the back of it, and he would do all kinds of stuff. So the one in my book is actually zombified Destro.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll have to show it to you when you come up next week. So
Yeah, man.
So for people who will watch this later on, because no one's watching us right now while we're live. So for people who do know what Galactic Gumbo was before, will still be the same, but we'll throw in something different every now and then, like when something of this, something that's not Joe related or strictly Transformer related, we'll try to get them on if we know about it, of course. But like Pete, it's robots and Pete and Jessie, so we'll have him on. We had him on tonight, and then we'll have them on. We'll have Pete tomorrow night, and then of course Brian. I want to push him out, but it wasn't strictly G.I. Joe, so I didn't really want to bring him on the Joe show. We'll be talking about big metal spaceship, so I figured this is probably the better place for him. But some things we might add to the show are going to be topics about comic books and movies. What do you guys think of that? It's something that I know we've had topics about what we talked about and what we were interested in or what we would do in this scenario, but I figure, like once all of us have seen a movie or before it comes out because we saw like I want to talk about Wonder Woman. We all seen the picture, right?
Yeah, fully clothed Gal Gadot.
Hello. That's the biggest. That's so wrong right there to begin with. Fully clothed. Where the hell did they get this outfit at?
Look, she is a gorgeous woman, and like she rocks it. Like it's like, I mean, I guess it's so two-dimensional of me to be like focusing on the looks of Wonder Woman, but let's be honest, like that's that was kind of like part of her inception, right? Like that was like that's the package deal, but she works it. So like I'm cool with the whole like golden Olympus like armor set she's got on.
It's not the whole movie, man. I gotta see the OG stuff.
I'm not sure.
Thought you were about to say the old G string.
Well, that too. Why not?
Sure.
I was like, oh Jesus,
String
Mike.
it up. String it up.
Just
And
those
of course,
fat
for
lists.
people who do comics, I know Dakota does a lot of comics, and do you do X-Men? I can't remember if you do all of the X-Men titles.
Yes. I'm reading the current Uncanny, and I'm reading X-Force. I'm thinking about getting House of X and Powers of X. I think it's going to be a mini-series coming out in July. They're kind of teasing it as like the next big thing. They're like, you remember Giant Man or Giant X-Men #1, and you remember, #1 from the 90s. You remember Days of Futures Past, but like it's the typical Marvel marketing thing where it's like, it's like don't miss this. What will be an $800 book one day, and like of course it's never going to be an $800 book. But yeah, like I love like X-Men is probably my current favorite Marvel book, and like that's all I read is Marvel, and I read the Transformers books.
I think,
but
if I read somewhere, and I talked to Rick about this, that they are apparently they're scrapping all the X-Men books.
Yeah, man, that's not the first time I've heard that, but I don't think.
Writer, it's a new writer is why.
Well, like I said, like that usually doesn't.
I hate that.
It usually doesn't like it's not like it's just going to end one day, right? Like, I do know that they're still pitching strong the Hickman House of X, Power of X thing, or Powers of X.
That's it. That's what I heard. It was
like I said, right? But that's supposed to be a mini series. Last I kind of looked, but like right now, the Uncanny story is very interesting. It's very like think guerrilla warfare X-Men sort of thing, because like to go ahead and spoil it, like if you haven't been reading X-Men at this point, if you haven't read the disassembled 10-parter, that's too bad for you. But like it's very similar to like House of M in a way where there's like hardly any X-Men. Like granted, like there's still several mutants out there in the world, but all the X-Men are like basically all the X-Men are like they're gone. They're just mysteriously gone. Nathan X-Man, I should say, kind of hit the big erase button. We have no idea where they are. Cyclops came back, which we knew, kind of that he was back at the end of Extinction. So Cyclops and Wolverine are kind of heading up the current unit. You got Dark Beast or Gray Beast or whatever you want to call them. You've got Wolfsbane was there. she's not there anymore, unfortunately. But like it's a kind of like ragtag crew, and they were just sort of operating out of a basement in a bar. And like Mr. Sinister showed up in the last issue. I think one came out this week, and I just didn't pick them up this week. I'm going to pick up my books next week. But it's been good, man. I've really liked the new Uncanny. It's been a great read. Captain America has also been a fantastic read. Like right now, it's kind of like more of that fallout from Secret Empire. And Steve Rogers has been framed for murder, and he's in this like super villain penitentiary, and There's like the Daughters of Liberty, and like Invisible Woman is a part of that. Like it's just really the Captain America story. Like I've always loved Captain America books, but ever since like Nick Spencer did that Steve Rogers run, I think that was in like 2015, 2016, or 20 something like that, 2017, in that era. Like from that point till now has just been great Captain America stories. Deadpool has been kind of lackluster, I'll be honest. Like I've like there have been a few of the issues since the like the big issue 300 or whatever. I've laughed at, like that has had some real genuine funny Deadpool moments, but like every time like I pick that book, pick up a new one, I'm just like, all right, is this going to be a bust? Is this going to be fun?
Right.
Is it going to be a little too like millennial friendly, or not necessarily millennial friendly? I should probably say like Gen Z friendly. But it has some pretty funny moments, and just typical Deadpool nonsense. X-Force has been great though. That's one that I want to continue to see because it picks up from quote unquote Kid Cable, because he killed old Cable in Extinction, and it's got the team. You got Boom Boom and Cannonball and Domino and Warpath and Shatterstar, and like there's this big thing going on right now with Strife and Rachel Summers. So it's like X-Force has been a lot of fun. The artwork was a little kind of iffy at first, but I guess I just got used to it. But it's X-Force has been a really fun book. But like if House of X and Powers of X is what's going to be kind of it going forward, like I'm cool with that because like Hickman writes great stories. But like I said, I still feel like the Uncanny book is going to continue to kind of go forward in one way or another. And like I've been reading X-Men since like shortly before House of M, and I need another short box for all my X-Men books. I've just got so many.
One thing I wish would pick up is that damn Transformer series.
Look, here's okay. Yeah. So let's since we were kind of like, do you get me talking about comics? I'm going to be here for a minute. I think, and I was doing shout out to the microcasters. They had me on a few weeks ago to talk about the new Transformers comic. And I believe it was Lucas. It was either Lucas or Anna had mentioned that like sitting down and reading like all 5 issues or 6 issues at the time. I think it was 5 at the time. In one go, it's just like, it's like, yes, but you're going to get that on a book that comes out twice a month. Like there's going to be some slower build, where like we were used to a lot of just content, because like More Than Meets the Eye was 1 month, RID was 1 month, and they switched into Lost Light and Optimus Prime, but we got a lot of meat and potatoes in those 1 issues because they were once a month, once a month books. This being every other week, I'm okay with some of that extra nonsense universe building type stuff. The new Transformers book has built a mystery, and I really like that. Like I feel like they need to start paying off some of that mystery element. We just had book 6 come out last week, I think, and the way it kind of ended was like it had me like, okay, what's happening next? Like I finally, book number 6 is where I was like, I need to see what happens in book number 7. So I think if you read 1 through 6. And then like the full story arc is supposed to be 12 issues and not the standard like 6 issues that most of the Transformers books have been. And that's why I'm giving it 12 issues. If I don't like the payoff, if like most of my questions aren't answered and I don't have even more things, questioning or interesting me, like ultimately I may put the book down. But right now, like going into issue number 7, I'm more excited than I was for say issues 2, 3, and 4. I love that they use the toy designs and all that other cool stuff, because that's what's almost gotten me to pick up all the Siege toys. It's just because they're using those designs, and they're even using some older Combiner Wars designs and Generations design. They're focusing on the toy design, so like you can have a shelf preference for this media, and you don't have to wait for a third-party company to make stuff. Yeah, do I prefer those older designs, those Milne designs, and Roche designs, and so so on and so forth. Of course, I love those designs way more. But I can actually have a shelf for this media, because I am a toy collector too. I dig it, but like anyone who's on the fence about the Transformers books, at least my thing is, and that's something I may do. I may, as much as I want to see what happens in issue number 7, I may wait until issue number 11 drops and then read 7 through 11 and get pumped for issue 12, hopefully.
That's where I'm kind of at, because I haven't picked up the last 2 issues. I think I've read 1 through 4 or 1 through 5. And it was so slow.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to wait for at least 4 to 6 issues and just, gang rape them at one time, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because they
what about you other guys? I mean, like, what other books are you guys reading? Because, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, War of the Realms is going on right now, because I am reading the Thor book. I think, like, the only, like, quote-unquote big 3 book I'm not reading is Iron Man, just because I kind of, like, fell out of Iron Man. Not necessarily because the character is boring or anything, but I just stopped reading his book. But I do still read the Wildcat. Well, no, like it was even before then. But like the Avengers, the Jason Aaron run of Avengers, and I think that's going to come to a close. Or no, Jason Aaron's Thor is coming to a close pretty soon. And he's done some awesome stuff with that character. Like the person that follows up Jason Aaron on Thor has got some big shoes to fill, I think. He did the whole Jane Foster thing, and I hope because he's still kind of technically, quote unquote unworthy. He still doesn't have Mjolnir, but we know he gets it back because, Jason Aaron has written all of the, the whole old Thor, your King Thor, whatever kind of arcs and things like that.
Right.
And we know he gets it back, and that's awesome. And like War of the Realms is going on. Like, I think the dopest thing would be to see Thor fly into the sun and get his hammer back and just beat the shit out of Malekith with it. Like that's something else, dude. If you haven't picked up War of the Realms, issue number 1, it was like the coolest thing, man. It's so Malekith invades Earth, and he talks about like doing something with his hands or whatever, and so Cap hits him with the shield and it catches it, and if you want some he tells him, if you want some hands, you can catch these. I was like, oh my god, Cap told this dude to catch these hands. So that was dude, that was awesome. That was so cool. I get excited about comic books. So
yes, everybody, this is story time with Dakota.
I know.
Yeah. Welcome
Well,
to all the spoilers.
Mouthful, go ahead and finish the story off, man. No, I was kidding.
Yeah.
Well, before we get another word in, I'm going to say something. I've been catching up on reading the old IDW stuff. So right now I'm on All Hell Megatron. So.
Oh shit! You're way back in the old stuff.
Oh yeah, I've got a long way to go, but I am enjoying it so far. Like Stormbringer was really good. Infiltration was all right. It kind of boring.
Did you just start so like everything like there's probably 2 or 3 stories prior to All Hail Megatron that I absolutely love, and it's Megatron Origin, Stormbringer, and Spotlight Cup.
Yeah, those Spotlight Cup and the hardback volumes.
Yeah, like those 3 in particular are some of my favorites. The Infiltration, Escalation, whatever they called all that other stuff.
Kind of boring.
It is, but it wasn't too bad either. As far as like, I guess just some kind of standard Welcome to Earth Transformers story. But like, so have you started All Hell Megatron yet, or have you not read the first issue?
I started the first issue. I may need to start over again so I can refresh myself.
I was gonna say, how did you even stop? Because like whenever I had
to get back to work.
Dude, I would have called in sick. Like whenever I started like All Hell Megatron, because I got in probably dude, maybe a year after that story, maybe. And so I got to read that all in one sitting. And all of the Coda issues, and those are cool to kind of see how everyone got to where they were. How they kind of like bridged it all together. Because All Hail Megatron was like the first true soft reboot of the like things still are part of that universe and part of everything going forward. But Oh, dude, All Hail Megatron, like that is probably the best story in Phase 1, and which it leads into Last Stand of the Wreckers, and like I kind of group those things together.
Yeah, see, I'm looking forward to reading that. I've heard so much about it, so many good things
it's
about
like,
it.
Yeah, it's like you gotta read All Hail Megatron to understand why they're even there in the first place, and like why the ending takes, and like that it all wraps into the ongoing at that time, and like where they were going forward and through the Chaos event and into Death of Optimus, and it just, man, I'm telling you, the starting point of All Hail Megatron forward is just solid stuff. I love it. You need to, yeah. You need to finish that, because that's I like talking about it. I'm probably gonna take my hardcover to work tomorrow and read it again, because like those are stories you can read just over and over. You know what I mean? And I like that. I like that you can do that. Like that's typically the comic books I hang on to, are the ones where I'm just like, you know what, I want to go reread this entire story. Does anyone else like Mike? I know you read comics. Sport, do you read comics?
Occasionally, yeah.
Okay, like is there ever a story where you're just like, you haven't read it in a while and you're like, you know what, I want to go back and read that again?
Probably the closest thing would be Ultimate Spider-Man.
Okay, cool.
I like that. That's one of my favorite comic series.
Awesome.
Mine would have to be The Death of Superman.
The Death of Superman? Oh.
Yep, I watched.
Oh,
I
wow.
read that so many times.
Yeah. Dalton, so far, like in your kind of comic book reading journey, so to speak, like what's that one story that's kind of stuck out to you where like, I want to go back and revisit that?
Probably Megatron Origin so far.
Yeah.
Like just everything that he's went through, just from that moment in the minds where he snapped and just.
Yeah, dude, and like that's what's cool. Like later on in Phase 2, the Autocracy and Monstrosity series, like they kind of build on some of that, like after moments, I guess, of it, like from Megatron Origins. That's another great mini.
That's in.
Exactly. Yeah.
More than meets the eye, right?
Well, they were standalone books. They were standalone miniseries. I'm trying to think the artist that did it. It was not. I don't think it was. No, it wasn't Guido. It was was it Guido? I can't think of his name right. He does all the metal looking stuff, that dark metal looking artwork.
Like Autocracy or.
Yeah, Autocracy and Monstrosity. Okay. But those kind of play off of that, and they kind of take place sort of during that era as well of Megatron Origin, like that kind of part. Like as far as like linear timeline, it's definitely better read, I think, while it's still fresh. Like you read Megatron Origins, you go read those two. I wouldn't necessarily read them in that order, but those are some good stories. I'll be honest, dude. The 3H Records stories is what I've probably gone back to the most.
That didn't surprise me at all.
Oh, they're just like man, that it was a sweet spot. I don't know if it's because of the Beast Wars stuff.
Well, I know you like the records. You've always liked the records, as long as
right. Yeah, like I've got the Target 2006 trade, and I go back every so often and give that another read. Last Stand and Sins and Requiem. I'll read all those in one sitting usually. But the 3H stuff, man, it's not just records, it's the universe book too. And it's like, maybe it's because it's unfinished and I want to read it and I want it finished. I mean, this kind of sort of finished. I mean, the club did a really good job at doing what they could to fill in and kind of take that in a different way, but it still just doesn't feel finished. But
yeah.
Those were just great stories, those two.
One last thing we'll talk about before we sign off. Did y'all see where DC Universe has canceled Swamp Thing after one episode?
Jesus, was it that bad? Like,
no, it was,
I don't watch the DC
it
stuff.
was the creative differences or something. It was an internal thing.
Yeah, it was an internal thing.
Yeah.
But I mean,
What's
still
the
though, I
rating?
mean, how is it you don't have your shit together before you even start filming this show, and you've already pumped out so many episodes? I mean, I'm sure it's just like Doom Patrol. Is it like 10 episodes? That's what it is. It's going to be.
Yeah.
I'd have to look it up. I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, it's really funny. I mean, here it is already. They can't get their damn movies straight.
Right.
Now they can't get their own streaming service straight. The only thing Warner Brothers properties get straight is half-assed TV shows.
Yeah, man, like that's something I've said it for a long time. It's not that I hate DC. I'm just genuinely uninterested in anything that isn't 90s Batman the animated series. But I'm like, that's the three things I grew up on: 90s Batman, 90s X-Men, Beast Wars. And those are the three things that like I will always have a soft spot in, for and support and things like that.
Yeah, that animated series Batman is still on my favorite list of animated Batman movies.
If someone asked me like animated, like top 5 animated movies, like Mask of the Phantasm makes it to that list.
Oh yeah,
I'd say Return of the Joker.
Yeah. Return of the Joker was good too.
Yeah.
Well, there have been several good, even recent Batman animated direct-to-DVD movies. I mean,
Son of Batman was really good.
Son of Batman, Under the Red Hood.
Don't some of those fit into the animated series sort of universe as well?
The newer ones, not so much.
Well, it's confusing because some of them will use that same artwork, and then some of them will have Kevin Conroy's voice, but like, that, like, I remember like the one episode of Batman the animated series that stuck in my mind so hard was the fish one with the Joker and the fish with the crazy smile on their face. And like that, like I don't know why, but like that's one that I always go back to as like a favorite. Maybe it's because it kind of freaked me out, like I don't know, but
were you into Batman Beyond too?
I definitely liked it. I liked the what was it, like the Return of the Joker?
Yep.
That was awesome.
Yeah. I love that series.
So but like I kind of said all that to say this: DC needs to just sit out for 3 or 4 years. They need to wrap everything up they've got and let everything lay low for 3 or 4 years, and then come back with a game plan. If they want
they did. It was Sparkle Batman.
Well, if they but like that's the deal. Like it's even Twilight Batman, like they could still use that, but just hold off for like 3 or 4 years. Wrap everything up. TV universe, movies, wrap it all up, stop it, and sit for 3 or 4 years and come back. Because like Marvel's got this like 12-point plan, or at least they like some of those things have kind of fallen through, like the Netflix stuff, where we could have had a very awesome potential of, seeing the Defenders on the big screen and the big in-game fight, but whatever.
They forgot to trolley them in, is what happened, I heard.
I think a lot of that just had to do with the licensings for whatever. But so like Marvel has that stuff, and like their streaming service, I'm sure, is all going to tie in. But Marvel had the cinematic universe, which played into the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. thing going on, and they got these side things going on with like Runaways and Cloak and Dagger, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is now kind of independent from that, but still sort of kind of makes note and ties to what's going on in the cinematic universe every so often. You had the Netflix stuff, which was kind of its own thing, but also still was just like, this happened in this world, so to speak. So everything was there. It was connected, even if by just a few threads. But that's what DC needs to do, and they'll have a much better opportunity of doing it because they own all of their shit. Where Marvel, had they got to deal with Sony, and then now they just did the Fox buyback, and so
now they just got to deal with Universal.
DC Warner Brothers has all of their stuff, and for them to not have something that rivals the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even comes close to it. Like they don't, man. Like it's the DC Entertainment Universe is so far away from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's insulting, because Batman and Superman are like flagship comic book characters. For them to not be up there with like Captain America, Iron Man, right. Avengers, so forth. It boggles my mind, man. But that's they got too many irons in the fire, and they need to pull out and come back and do, again with a game plan. Because right now it's just okay, DC movie once a year or once every other year, and let's try to make these things fit. And if we don't make them fit, then let's start over. But be confusing about it. No, man, that's not how you do that shit. You got to take a break.
I just looked it up. Swamp Thing is 10 episodes, and episode number 2 came out today. So I'll wait till it gets to about 9 episodes in, and then I'll watch it. And that's one of the things, you just binge watch it. And I hate waiting a week in between crap.
Yeah, man. Like the way that Netflix drops original content is the way of the future, in my opinion. Like I'm sure the Disney streaming service will probably be similar, where it's like you'll have to wait a week, but that's where like I'll wait till a show is completely done and then pay the $8 and then go about it that way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and close up this episode, and we'll be back in 2 weeks, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we will get back to our regular format, which was we will start off with hauls, and then we'll come up with a Mount Rushmore of some sort, and then we'll just start figuring out some chats and stuff we want to talk about and go from there. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and sign out. Dalton, where people find you?
You can find me everywhere at DaltiniansTFs.
Sport.
You can find me in Dalton's room behind his couch. And you can find me.
I knew it!
Lock.
I know, right?
You can find me here on YouTube as Sportimus, and on Twitter as SportimusPrime.
Son.
You can find me everywhere at PrimalSabbath.
And you guys can find me everywhere as Angry Mike. Thanks for tuning in, or for people who actually watched it all the way to the end, because there's no live viewers right now. We do appreciate you watching if you do watch it. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Peace.
Later.